Jacob, you're happy with the progress today?
To him now, but he looked good in practice. So, and he had a skate prior, obviously, or a couple. So, I would expect he'd be ready to go. Hinostroza, I don't know if you saw, he's been nursing something, so he practiced and then went off a little bit early. So he's still kind of in a day-to-day category, which we're dealing with that too. So.
You mentioned a few times you've called Matthias a character in some ways. Personality, having somebody like that in the room over the course of an 82-game season, in what ways can it be important to have somebody who can just keep things light, right? Even when he was injured, he was keeping things light with the group, it seemed.
And you were referring to, I apologize.
Matthias.
Oh, Matthias. Okay. I didn't know if you said Matthias or Mitzi on that one. But yes, Samuelson is, he's just one of those personalities that's probably more comfortable around groups of people in a team atmosphere. And he does. He's just got that personality. You see it in practice, you see it on the bench and hear it, feel it, and in the locker room. So he's a big, we all know he's a big piece of what we do here, and that's a real intangible quality that he brings.
JJ goes. I mean, he scores the other night, but in the third period, he hit a back check, and I think he broke up a play. Just what does that play illustrate to you, I guess?
That's an area that he's getting better at. Just recognizing play without the puck, recognizing potential danger the other way toward our net. It's still a work in progress, but very good sign the other night to see him recognize that and jump to get his job done. So we know his scoring is developing and it will develop, and that's the other end of the game that I think will develop more rapidly now as he gains a little more experience. He gets the hindsight of playing in the NHL that he hasn't had.
Is that a play a year ago that maybe he doesn't make, or even less than that?
Yeah, his first game last year, I can remember, watching it. I was in COVID protocol at the time, and it was similar play, and he didn't recognize it. So obviously that's a big change, and he continues to grow in both offensively and defensively every day. And like I said, he's there's a lot of room for it, and I don't say that with a negative tone. It's just he's going to get, he can be just as we feel he can be pretty dominant in moments offensively, and we think the same defensively with his power and strength on pucks, his ability to get to spaces quick, strength on his stick is really all impressive, and that bodes well defensively, because lots of times when you break up a play defensively, if you get on offense right away, it's a scoring chance the other way. And that's what we do see as far as his potential.
It's worked well for them on their natural wings now, and I've seen them both play their off wings, both in Rochester and here in Buffalo. But now, Jack's right-handed shot, JJ's now on the left. You've settled on that and have done well with it. What made you decide to, hey, this is where they need to be?
Just the simpler game, easier, obviously, receiving pucks on your forehand until they get acclimated with the pace, the size, the strength, the league itself. So. Who knows? They might end up switching at some point back, but right now it's just a simpler, easier game for them to get. There's so much they're getting acclimated to in way of the level and the opposition that this gives them a better opportunity to do that.
But it's worked really well for them, hasn't it?
That's why it's worked well, because it's easier. It's much easier from that regard. But yes, it's worked well. And what's really worked well is both those guys are good hockey players. They really are dialed in when you talk to them as coaches, and they're dialed in when Cousins talks to them. And Cousins helps us as coaches convey messages that we were conveying to Dylan a year ago and a year and a half ago, and that speeds their progress too. Having a guy like Dylan, I know he helps us on the coaching side tremendously.
Does he realize he's only 21, Dylan?
Don't tell him. Don't tell him. Yeah, does everybody realize that, really, when we watch games? We have lots of young guys that are going through first-time experiences, and they're going to get better of it. It's not the same old thing. These guys are experiencing the NHL just look at our decor. It's a perfect example. Look at how few NHL games that decor has. I mean, we've played multiple games against teams that have had one player with more NHL games than our entire 6 combined. So it's just they're going to get better. They're going to keep getting better. We see that. We know that. And so again, don't tell Dylan. Don't remind Dylan he's only 21, please.
How do you go about helping Luukkonen? Because this is, it's
Yeah, you have to support him. I mean, again, UPL. I've mentioned it several times. I know. We talked. Everybody talked about why isn't he up, and he's still a young guy. He's a very young guy, and until you go through these and make mistakes, you don't have hindsight. That is, unfortunately, experience is making mistakes in life. It is. People can tell you, don't do that. Don't you? You can recall when we were all kids, and your parents say, don't do that, don't do that. Until you do it and experience it yourself, you don't have experience. So, while he's gaining experience and that hindsight, we have to support him. Because if we don't, it's going to be a crash course for any guy. Is the real jeopardy of any situation. So I think he's doing the right things. He's coming to practice every day, trying to find ways to get better. He's internalizing mistakes that he makes and correcting them. I can tell you, there's guys 6 years older have made 1,000 more mistakes than him, but they've had 1,000 more opportunities to correct them. And so now we've got to support him. In his initiative to correct mistakes as they go, just like every other player. So in this particular case, we're talking about UPL. I can tell you it's every player.
Is he good with that, though? When he sits with Mike Bales and goes over film, does he see it right away going, I could have made a better read there, I could have done this? Is he good with that?
Yeah, I would suspect he does. And you see different scenarios. So what if this rebound goes this way? And so then you're talking through, okay, we have that covered potentially. So don't worry about that secondary option. So, and I think having Craig Anderson around helps as well. But the fact is, we have a guy that hasn't had a lot of experience in games. And I tell you, the other thing too is our penalty kill can do better. So that can help with a little bit more consistency and efficiency of shot selection and potential rebound coverage and things like that. So it's all continues and will never ever not be a work in progress for every single team in this league. It just is.
What's your personal approach or philosophy, goalies or young goalies in general? Like how much you like to be hands-on, or how much you leave it to the goalie coaches? Like how do you? It's a unique position, so how do you kind of handle a young player like that?
Yeah, I think it is a unique position, but it's also no different than any other position. And every guy you've got to look at the guy. Every situation is individual, I guess. Where are they at in their experience? Where are they at in their competitiveness? Where are they at in their game awareness? So everything is factored into the individual player himself. I think with UPL, he's had enough games at this level, and he has confidence that whatever happens, he feels he can correct it. It's not going to be such a hit to his confidence that he's overwhelmed. And I think that would be create a threatening environment for one, and it would be, a way more challenging, delicate environment. He's still pretty confident in his ability. I don't think he's losing confidence in these situations. Nobody likes to hear people keep asking him questions and questioning him, obviously. So that's another part you have to handle at the professional level. Can you handle being questioned? But it's all a read by us, and each case is unique.
The goal that you scored 7 seconds into the period, do Darlene and Tuck talk to you about that, or they just know? Darlene knows, look, if I put the puck off that Tim Hortons sign and you rip after it, you're going to get it. It's going to go to you. Or do they ask you, hey, is that something we can do?
You like that play, huh, Paul? Yeah, I did too. No, so face-offs, we have Jason Christie goes through face-offs with guys, and they're always talking about different face-off options. And you present, especially face-offs, you present that to each, you present what they're supposed to do coverage-wise, which we cover pretty quick. And then on the offensive side, they have options, and they can select and engage in options they want on the offensive side. So we like it when they come up with stuff. And again, Jason Christie's behind it, helping them, and they can make decisions on their own as they go with respect to the offensive side of it.
But just the fact that Rasmus knows his rink so well that he knows if I rip one off that sign, he knows where the puck's going to go.
Yeah, he's dialed in. He knows his geometry is pretty good. So, and you couple that with Tuck's speed and quickness, and it was one heck of a play.